You change your clothes with the season, so don't forget to also change your makeup routine. Makeup artist Leandra Rivera shares her secrets for flawless winter makeup. Leandra, nice to have you back. And
thank you.
Our model Erin here, who's going to be your blank slate or your canvas. Now we're going to talk first about what you should do in the winter time that's different from your summer makeup routine.
Yes, during the winter we tend to have drier skin. The trends change a little bit also, but the main thing you want to work on is maintenance before makeup. I always say it's very important to focus on keeping your skin fresh and clean before you put the makeup. So one way to prep your skin for foundation, especially during the winter, you want to moisturize for sure. Once you moisturize thoroughly, you also want to prime. Now that gives like a nice blank canvas to work with. And so far on Erin, I've just put a light layer of primer and we have regular foundation on. Now the change from summer and fall to winter is the dewy look was very big during the summer, but they switch it over to a very matte look on the face.
Right, so not necessarily dewy in the winter time. You want to keep it more matte and flush. Now, what if I didn't put primer on prior to putting foundation on? What would the difference be in terms of the way that my face would look?
Well, sometimes if you do have any dry areas on the skin, it might shine through under the foundation. The primer kind of gives it just a blank slate and also gives a nice layer on the skin to start off with for the makeup to adhere to, as opposed to being directly on the skin.
Okay, so it definitely makes a difference in the way that your face looks more flawless.
Definitely.
Okay, so now Erin has been prepped with primer. Does she also have foundation on already?
Yes, she has a light layer of foundation on. And as you can see, she has just some like under the eyes. And now I have a powder. The foundation that we put on her was a cream foundation. So now to give that nice matte look, we'll just go over with a nice powder. And this is a mineral powder.
Now I see that you're using a brush that looks very dense. Does the brush that you use to apply powder matter in terms of what type?
Well, you want to give like, you want to use something that gives a nice buff because you also want it to blend in on the skin. That we have really fine hairs on our skin, so we want to buff into that and really set it into the skin.
Okay.
So a buffering brush is the best.
And you're obviously going to pay attention to the color of the foundation you put on her skin, and this may be very different from what she wears in the summertime.
Yes, most definitely. Usually in the summer we go for a hint of a darker shade because we tan, just naturally from being out in the sunlight. So the winter tones, you could tone down the tan and the sun-kissed look. You could switch it up and go more for the paler look, but it's all based on your preference.
Okay, but keep in mind that maybe your summertime foundation may not look so great and match your neck in the wintertime.
Exactly.
So now you're just putting the powder on her face, and that's to give it that matte look.
Yes, and that's just to tone down any shine.
And I think, at least in my case, I feel like I can get away with less makeup in the summertime. I don't know if it's because I do have a little bit of more of a tan, but today you're going to demonstrate a smoky eye look, which is something that you can really pull off in the winter and really go bold.
Oh, definitely. The trends for the winter are usually the darker lips, the darker eyes, and you could have fun with it. There's a ton of different ways that you can apply the smoky eye. You could do it mainly with the eyeliner and smudge it, or the way I'm going to do it here is just by taking a soft blending brush and what I do is just take a little bit of the black. Now you want to start lightly just so you can gauge the color and how dark you want it. You want to close, and I like to start just right here in the corner, and then with windshield wiper movements you could blend that in.
So you're starting in the corner and then you're going into her crease, right?
Yep, and you just blend right into the crease.
Now I noticed that you're not putting any liner on. Will you use liner at all for this smoky eye, or is it all just shadow?
Well, you could kind of choose what you'd like to do. Sometimes you can definitely go heavy with the liner, especially if you want the eye to be framed. But for now, the main focus is just the shadow and kind of the contour of the eye.
Okay.
But I have seen a ton of the trends, the recent trends for winter, and They've been doing a lot of liner, the very thin line, so it's not too noticeable. Some of the older trends, they would cat out the liner.
Yes, yep.
And now they seem to be just leaving it right flush above the lash line, but not extending it.
So like a very clean, classic look.
Yep. And this is very, very light. It almost looks like a shade of gray. But that way you're able to gauge where you're going with it.
So this is just the start of it.
Yes.
So you kind of layer on top of, and this is layer number 1.
Yep.
Okay.
And you go as dark as you feel comfortable. And you want to mainly have the darkest part in the corner of the eye, because that gives you the nice shape of the eye, and it also helps with the contour.
Okay, so you want to make sure that it is darkest on the outside. I think there's also that fine line between smoky eye and got hit in the eye.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way, and it's all about technique.
Yes, and one of the biggest things is take your time on your eyeshadow. A lot of times we want to, just living the busy lifestyle, we want to hurry up, apply it. The best thing is to definitely work in that nice blending motion, and that gives you the softer tones as opposed to having an abrupt black eye, because that's kind of what it resembles.
Right. Now, obviously for the sake of time, because we don't have a ton of time right now, but if you were to continue on and get to the finished product, would you put a lighter color on her lid, or would you just keep it all that dark black color?
Well, what you could do is you could also apply, like you said, the lighter color right there. You could apply shimmer. If you want to go for a full-on smoky eye, you could apply the black liner, smudge it out, and then apply maybe like a chrome shimmer or a black on top to give that same effect. But the main thing you want to focus on is making sure this top is blended so you're able to be free with what you do on the bottom lid.
Okay, wonderful. And would you use liner on the bottom lid?
Yeah, and it's all based on preference. It could shape the eye a little better, but if you'd like to, you can, and if not, some people aren't used to having the dark on the eye, so I always say gauge it for what you like.
Wonderful. And like it or not, we do have some more time left of this winter weather, so we do have to make sure that we adjust our makeup to this colder weather. So thank you so much for the tips, Leandra. And Erin, thank you so much for being here as well. That brings us to our